to where you are seated, you will see the report of the 2025 dialogue, giving you an indication of where we are. What we have also realized is that we don't just go back to the communities to say there is another dialogue. What we do, we report back what are the outcomes that we are tasked to the committee to follow up with government institutions. And I'm so glad that today the permanent secretaries are in full force here today. Welcome everyone, because the issues that are raised, it is their ministries who have the national program, that is the National Development Plan. And in the plan to implement it, you have to listen to the voices of the people. What are they saying regarding our sector? How can we pick some of those recommendations and give them consideration during our implementation process? And this is why it is very important that government officials, his Honorable Boyd promised us last year, and he fulfilled the promise that they will be here, and they are here. Thank you very much. Give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. And we appreciate there's every year also we have what we call the National Preparatory Committee. We must thank them very much. They come from different institutions and they are stakeholders in national issues. Every year the institutions are written to and they bring in members who will represent them. Some are repeated members because they are continuing in the institutions. Some are new members because others have moved and new ones have come in. But the institutions remain. So those institutions are here. They give us support, and they are the ones who go out in the rural areas doing the regional dialogue as rapporteurs, as resource people to support the OP team who are dealing with the logistics. And very much thank the hosts in the regions who supported the whole process to be able to have success. This year, I was so proud when I saw the pictures coming from the regional dialogue. So we thank everybody. For us to remember that whether we are here or not, let us always remember that the national dialogue is for us to have a chat among ourselves, how we see things in a very diplomatic but respectful and factual way, that we can say, yes, I disagree with you on this opinion, but this is the perspective you are bringing in. And for the nation to move forward, we must listen to each other. There is a critical element to the national dialogue. That is the voice of the diaspora. We know that we don't have the capacity yet to be able to pay for our diasporan citizens to come specifically just for this dialogue. We hope one day Minister of Finance will be able to support us to do that. But then what we do, we take advantage of the Gambian diasporan people who are on the ground and seize that opportunity to be with us and give their reflections. And this year, we are honored to have Honorable, our son in the Gambian diaspora, but who has been recognized in the United States, who is Baj Samba Balde, who is here today with us, and his team from the diaspora. Thank you for coming. Welcome. So on that note, without wasting more time, let me allow the program to continue from where we are. Thank you very much for coming. You are all welcome.
Thank you, Director of Press and Public Relations, Office of the President, my boss, for giving a background on the concept of national dialogue, which is part of the fulfillment of the social contract. Before Russell Locke and other philosophers talk about social dialogue, we've been having as part of our culture as people inheritors of the Mandem Carta. We all know the Kuruk and Fuga, where we sat down and codify our customary law. So we are a people of dialogue. It's part of our culture. That's why we have bantabas in every community. We always have dialogue. And it is encouraging to have the Chief Justice here. During the legal year, you talk about alternate dispute resolution, whereby we have to embrace our traditional form of dialogue, conflict resolution. This is an extension of that one. We appreciate that in all what we do, there's symbiosis in what we do, there's tandem in what we do, and this is encouraging. I would like to invite the Honorable Deputy Chief of Staff, Office of the President, Moduke Diba, to deliver the welcome remark. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I hope I am able to match the energy of the Director of Press and Public Relations, who has personally taken the national dialogue as a personal inspiration to bring people together. Before I start, allow me to just reflect something that I learned when I was at university. This was a German professor, and he says that people criticize economists for studying perfect markets because they don't exist anywhere. But then he said that just like a doctor, you need to know how a normal heart operates so that when you see one that is not malfunctioning, you are able to detect it. Now, the overall objective of this is we will never get it perfect, but we can continuously discuss together as partners to come up with solutions to get to that perfect market that we know probably will never get there, but it helps you to improve to get closer. So I just said that I should say this. My Lord the Chief Justice, the Honorable Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Minister for Public Service, Administrative Reform and Policy Coordination, representing His Excellency the President of the Republic, other cabinet ministers present, and I also recognize the presence of the former Minister of Works and Transport, Mr. Bailamin Job, esteemed private sector members, civil society organizations, members of the Inter-Party Committee, women and youth groups present, and representatives from the region. On behalf of the Chief of Staff to the President, Mr. Aliulung, it is my great honor to welcome you to this national dialogue on harnessing the Gambia's human capital and infrastructure resources for an inclusive leap to prosperity. Today's gathering comes at a pivotal moment in our national journey. Across the country, we've made significant investments in infrastructure, and these are roads, energy systems, digital connectivity, and public facilities. Equally, human capital investments over the years has been significant. And of course, by human capital, we mean investments in health, skills, productivity, innovation, and resilience of the people as a foundation to transform the infrastructure, which is the physical one, into economic opportunities. This dialogue is therefore both timely and necessary as we collectively brainstorm on the complementarity of the two infrastructures, the physical infrastructure and the human capital. The Gambia, as we collectively brainstorm on complementarity of these two to propel the Gambia into prosperity, it provides us with a platform to align policy, private sector engagement, as well as civil society partnerships to ensure that our human capital fully leverages the infrastructure gains we have achieved. The question overall today is, how do we ensure that this investment in human and physical capital translates into inclusive growth, quality employment, and long-term competitiveness of our economy? Your presence reflects a shared commitment to collaborate. Your presence reflects a shared commitment to collaborative solutions. Policymakers, employers, and civil society each hold critical pieces of the development jigsaw puzzle. Together, we can shape the strategies that strengthen skills development, workforce readiness, productivity, and social inclusion. Therefore, the Office of the President is glad to continue to organize this forum or this dialogue as a constructive, forward-looking dialogue that will generate actionable outcomes for our nation. As the Director of Press and Public Relations declared a few minutes ago, the ministers and senior government officials have made the promise that they will sit through and they will go over the discussions. And of course, you will check in your program that in each of the sessions, I think there is probably a maximum of 2 or 1 government officer in most of the sessions. The idea is that government policies are already written and we all have them. So it is to ensure that we get people outside of the government structures who will share their ideas on the policies that we are currently implementing and come up with strategies in terms of how to implement them properly to ensure we achieve our desired goal. On that note, I wouldn't like to make a long statement. I thank everyone for coming, and we look forward to a fruitful discussion. Thank you, everyone.
Honorable Deputy Chief of Staff for showing us the link between economy and reality. As we are told, the greatest resource of every country is a human capital. You can have all the natural resources, but if the human capital is not utilized, and we've proven that Gambia, with minimal natural resources, the human capital have been utilized to be able to advance the capital and infrastructural development. And then, yeah, we all know our forefathers when they're fighting for independence. What was the slogan? Taxation without representation. which also has something to do with economy. But today, through domestic resource mobilization, one of the famous slogans of His Excellency the President, we've been able to develop our infrastructure, which means that the tax is being used to respond to the needs of our people. We clap for ourselves for coming for as a nation in answering. Thank you. Good. Apologies in case my voice is low. I'm battling cold. So thank you very much. And then we also encourage domestic language use in all our communications. Hence, we've made arrangement for interpretation in Wolof and Mandinka. If you're having the headsets near you, channel 1 is Mandinka and channel 2 is Wolof. We also have sign language. And then I think DPPR, we are very passionate about sign language. I was in South Africa. They've designated sign language as one of their national languages. I think Gambia, in addition to all the other languages, we should also embrace that best practice of making sure that it's part of the inclusive development as mentioned in the slogan. Without taking much of your time, I would like to invite our rapporteur, Madam Fatou Jane, the General Rapporteur, to give a highlights of the 2026 National Dialogue. Madam, for the regions, Madam.
Good morning. Allow me to stand on the existing protocol. And, the high table, members of the high table, and good morning to you all. I'm presenting the key highlights and cross-cutting issues that emerge from the regional consultations. The methodology applied was a participatory and inclusive consultative engagement that took place across the country in all the administrative regions, involving central and local government authorities, politicians, civil society, youth, women groups, religious and cultural leaders, as well as the private sector and the persons with disabilities. So the dialogue was structured and guided, comprising review of the 2025 outcomes, thematic discussions aligned to the 2026 national theme with reflections and key recommendations by participants. Overall facilitation was led by the staff of the Office of the President under the leadership, dynamic leadership of Mrs. Ami Bojan Sisoho, Director of Press and Public Relations. So in Central River region, some of the key issues that emerge include youth unemployment and skills mismatch, saltwater intrusion, irrigation, that is Central River Region North, irrigation, storage and agro-processing, electricity, water quality, health and fire emergency, infrastructure gaps. You know, the fire emergency, they talked about the fact that His Excellency, the President, is now embarking on rural electrification, so they need fire service facilities around since there will be electricity. So some of the alkalis also talk about timely payment of salaries. Recommendations include expanding RPL, that is recognition of prior learning, under the, that is instituted by NACA under the Ministry of Higher Education, agro-processing facilities, improve irrigation, anti-corruption strengthening, national self-reliance fund, timely and consistent salary payment, and decentralization, decentralized disability support.
So, Madam, apologies for the break. They want to project this.
Yeah, because that's...
Can follow.
Okay. Can I go to slides already?
You are already standing.
Yes, so. Oh, sorry. Let me go back. So let me just go back. Just regulate whatever you regulate, and I go
You
back.
can stand and you.
Okay, can I move? Okay, this 2026 National Dialogue, regional highlights and key issues by region. And the presentation is done by myself as the General Rapporteur of the 2026 Dialogue here at this conference. Next. Okay, I just continue from, okay.
Because of time reasons.
So,
Just go-
okay.
Which slide were you in? Just go down.
Okay.
Which slide were you?
I
Methodology?
read the methodology and
No.
Central River Region. Maybe we can look at those issues quickly. Yes.
Here?
Central River Region North. So we talk about youth unemployment came out, and then skills mismatch, saltwater intrusion, irrigation, storage, and agro-processing facilities, weak decentralization, security and accountability concerns, payment of alkali salaries, and recommendations include expanding the RPL system, agro-processing facilities, improve irrigation, anti-corruption strengthening, national self-reliance fund, timely and consistent salary payment, and decentralized facilities for disability, persons with disability. Who is, where is he? I thought you are.
Put it in the presentation.
The remote is not.
Okay, okay. So the next one is Central River Region South, agriculture that is rise as a key economic driver, but constrained by low mechanization, youth unemployment and low labor market absorption, infrastructure deficit, feeder roads, electricity, digital connectivity. Recommendations include agriculture modernization, expanded TVET, civic education, and grassroots inclusion. Carnifing municipality. Concerns over weak implementation of 2025 resolutions, youth unemployment, migration, drug abuse, skills gaps, informal sector vulnerability and limited startup capital, need for stronger governance, digital expansion, and social inclusion. Banjul City Council, issues that came up include urban unemployment and exclusion from port-related jobs, high housing costs and environmental degradation, insecurity in markets and limited access to finance, gaps in decentralization, social protection, fire safety, and TVET alignment. Upper River Region, progress were made according to the participants and in terms of TVET expansion, anti-corruption commission, civic reforms, but there's the suggested the need for stronger decentralization and quality assurance in TVET trading, agricultural storage and processing gaps, digitalization of TVET and agricultural systems. North Bank region, youth unemployment and informal sector finance challenges, irrigation and post-harvest storage deficits affecting women mainly, land governance issues and cross-border trade constraints. Prioritize local TVET graduates in procurement processes. That is some of the recommendations. In West Coast region, Participants call for stronger call for women's representation and youth empowerment, repositioning TVET as a respected pathway from early schooling, mechanized farming storage, processing and local production, anti-corruption accountability and decentralized services, address land disputes, health, access roads, electricity expansion. So across all regions, the emerging cross-cutting priorities include youth unemployment and skills alignment. These remain dominant national concern. Agricultural modernization and value chain development challenges, limited decentralization and local service delivery challenges, weak enforcement of anti-corruption legislation, security and land governance concerns, limited access to finance and enterprise support for youth and women, rising risk of irregular migration, drug abuse, social vulnerability, digital transformation, and inclusive infrastructure expansion. So from dialogue to measurable outcomes, the need to prioritize agriculture-linked growth and reduce post-harvest losses, reduce youth unemployment and improve labor market absorption, improve rural infrastructure and local governance systems, expand digital infrastructure and integrate digital systems in agriculture, TVET and land management systems, institutionalize a structured dialogue implementation and monitoring framework or system, enforce security and anti-corruption legislation with firm and strong oversight. So to conclude, what's not going? So my conclusion. Conclusion is not going. Okay, so to conclude, the regional submissions provide a robust evidence base for the third national dialogue and future national development frameworks. The participants reaffirm a shared commitment to inclusive prosperity, underscore agriculture and youth empowerment as national imperatives, and highlight the centrality of integrated investment in human capital and infrastructure. Strong emphasis was placed on institutionalized monitoring and effective implementation and measurable outcomes, supported by coordinated national action. Collectively, these priorities reinforce the need for strategic investment in people and systems to advance the Gambia's inclusive, resilient, and sustainable development agenda for 2026 and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam, for giving us the real-time feedback from the citizens across the country, and that is the essence of the dialogue. And one takeaway is that, you know, as the Chinese taught us, if you want to be rich, build roads. And history teaches us all nations that build good road communication networks advance. The Roman Empire, the word all roads lead to Rome is emanated from this saying. The Chinese had their Silk Road, we had the Trans-Saharan trade, the Portuguese, you know, marine superpower, the explorer, the adventures in the United States also through the railroad. So indeed, infrastructure opens the road, and then it also has a cascading effect on all other issues raised. I would like to now invite His Lordship Hassan B. Jallow, Chief Justice of the Gambia, to deliver his statement. Your Lordship.
Thank you. Good morning, Honorable Minister Boy, representing His Excellency the President of the Republic, Honorable Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Ministers, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, members of the Organizing Committee of the National Dialogue, distinguished guests, I'm greatly honored to have been invited to give some reflections at this third National Dialogue. The holding of this gathering for 3 successive years since its inception is a strong demonstration of the continued relevance of the forum, relevance for our collective reaffirmation of our core national values, relevant for the review of our current challenges and the charting of a way forward in meeting those challenges. I'd like to commend all the stakeholders for their continued commitment to this process of dialogue, and also to commend the organizers as well for their commitment and their persistence, welcome persistence, for an all-inclusive approach that brings together all sectors of our community in this important process. The theme of this year's dialogue focuses appropriately on harnessing the Gambia's human capital and infrastructural resources for an inclusive leap to prosperity. The 2 previous dialogues gave us the opportunity to identify and to reaffirm our commitment to the core national values, the values and the commitment to democracy, to adherence to the rule of law, to respect for human rights, for accountability, and to social and economic process, and overall to the pacific resolution of disputes and differences within our community. As we reaffirm our collective commitment to these values, we need to be guided by the old adage that government is indeed a government, that democracy is indeed a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The theme is not something that the judiciary itself is indifferent to. Training and capacity building is a very important objective, one of the 8 objectives of the Judiciary Strategic Plan. And since the adoption of the plan and its launch by His Excellency the President, much effort and much resource has been devoted to training our staff and providing continuing systems for legal education, capacity building, geared to ensure, to promote, enhance the efficiency of the judiciary itself. No nation, despite the wealth of its natural resources, can make sustained progress without harnessing its human capital. The people must always be the agents. They must be the catalysts and the object and beneficiaries of any process of development. They must be the engine of development, and they must also be its beneficiaries. We therefore must harness the potential of our human capital. We can do so successfully, however, if we invest in our human resources, particularly the youthful population, in order to make them effective participants in our national development process. Investment in education, in training and capacity building must be and must remain a key priority for national development. It is indeed the key to national development. And many of us look, for instance, look forward to the day, indeed, when quality, relevant, compulsory education is available in this country at all levels and to all people. Even at from the nursery to the university to professional levels. For a nation that does not enjoy the luxury of significant natural resources, our population is our most important resource, and its development must not only be seen as a matter of human rights for individual citizens, but as the key to our collective national progress. Whilst democracy is indeed meant to be a government for the people, its key starting point must be as a government by the people. Democratic government must be based on the sovereign and freely expressed consent of the people, delivered by their freely chosen representatives who are selected freely and fairly in an electoral process. Our national calendar for the next 12 months and more heavily focuses on such a process of national and local elections for the selection of people, by the people, of their representatives at all these levels. The electoral calendar released by the IEC has scheduled the elections to the office of President for 5th December 2026, elections to the National Assembly for 10th April 2027, local government councillorship elections for 22nd May 2027, and finally local government mayoral and chairmanship elections for 26 June 2025. This is a very heavy and significant schedule, an important part of the democratic process. Elections are indeed the gateway to democracy, to enable us to reach the destination of peace and progress. And pursuant to our Constitution and other laws, the eligible citizens of this country, in the exercise of their sovereign right of self-governance and self-determination, will be selecting their representatives on the basis of universal adult suffrage to be conducted by the IEC. As a nation, we have accumulated tremendous experience in elections and in referenda since the advent of independence in 1965. And overall, it has been an experience of which we should all be proud for its fairness and for its reflection of the popular will. We should, all of us, citizens, voters, candidates, political parties, the IEC, the media, and all others, including the judiciary, who have a role to play in this process, commit ourselves to ensuring that the process is and remains free, fair, and peaceful, and that it is held in conformity with our laws. That the language and the rhetoric of the political campaign and of political life and activity, whilst necessarily critical, must remain courteous, it must remain respectful, and devoid of hate. That we promote national unity and solidarity and avoid tribal, ethnic, sectional, or religious divisions. That we avoid all actions which may disturb the peace and which may promote violence or result in violence. And that we resolve all electoral disputes, both before and post-election, in a peaceful and lawful manner. That all stakeholders, particularly the candidates, their sponsors, and the media, assist the voters to make an informed choice which can be based on a focus only on relevant issues. In that way, I am confident that we can, and we will, as a nation, successfully navigate, as we have done many a time in the past, this important gateway spanning many months from now to democracy, and thus best equip ourselves to reach the destination of national peace, progress, and prosperity. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Your Lordship, for that inspiration word. This year, we did not hear about, Donoy and Stevenson's on neighborhood rights, but it's still the same philosophy. Donoy and Stevenson, the neighborhood principle. Thank you, and then for also reminding us on the need to maintain, decorum in this critical year of election. As you say, Gambians, nobody can teach us about elections. We've been having elections, so we are experts. We can teach other people about election, and I'm sure that no matter how the temperature rises, politics, I know that it's going to be emotional, but again, we have to look at about our culture. And we've inherited this, joking relationship, Sanawiya and Dankutoya. This is regulated. That's the beauty of our culture. It has regulatory functions. We can crack jokes, but there are limits. We have the Sanawiya, the Kal, but we also have, the limits there, covenants, which mean that, anybody who will respect that law, you cannot go beyond that covenant. You'll see the consequences. So no matter how the political narrative gets hot, at the end of the day, come December, come January, we'll sit down as a country and celebrate, because we'll go back to our culture where we have. It's a culture of culture, dialogue, understanding, joking relationship, and also ensure that the red lines that have been there are not crossed. And this is something that we are consolidating, and it is encouraging to have both the all the three arms of government here explaining dialogue, how it should be. And then we have the Deputy Speaker of National Assembly is going to hear to explain her reflections on the legislative aspects, because we've always been told that we have a lot of archaic laws. We have a backlog of laws that are reformed. Go to the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, the floor is yours to guide us through and reflect on capital harnessing.
Thank you. The Honorable Babukar Boy, representing His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Mr. Adam Barrow, my Lord the Chief Justice, Hassan B. Jallo, the Honorable Deputy Chief of Staff, Office of the President, Director of Press and Public Relations, Office of the President, Honorable Ministers here in present. I can see that of Digital Economy, the Honorable Minister for Finance, Basic Education, and the Honorable Minister for Youth and Sports. Former Minister, Honorable Bailamin Job, thank you. Presidential advisors and their deputies, permanent secretaries and head of MDS here in present, governors and executive coordinators, service chiefs, civil societies representative, religious leaders, inter-party committee members, opinion leaders, religious leaders, members of the diaspora here in present, media, of course, protocol, and our regional representative from various regions. Good morning to all of you. I wish to start by admitting that I address this distinguished national gathering with profound honor, patriotic pride, and an abiding sense of historic responsibility as it comes on the heels of the 61st anniversary of our independence. I want to seize the opportunity to align myself with the previous speakers that this moment is not merely ceremonial. It is reflective, interrogative, and visionary. It calls upon us to measure how far we have traveled as a people, to examine the foundation of our present stability, and to define together the horizon of our collective future. This distinguished, thoughtfully convened on the visionary initiative of the government and administration of His Excellency the President, today remind us of a government philosophy rooted in consultation, inclusion, and democratic maturity. In nurturing a culture where national questions are answered through dialogue rather than division, the leadership of our country continues to consolidate peace, deepen unity, and strengthen the architecture of participatory governance. The theme before us, harnessing the Gambia's human capital and infrastructure resources for an inclusive leap to prosperity, captures the essence of our national transition. It recognizes that development in the 21st century is no longer defined solely by policy declaration, but by tangible transformations in the lived realities of citizens, by the roads that connect farmers to markets, the electricity that powers innovation, the schools that nurture intellect, and the opportunities that dignify labor. Since 2017, the Gambia has experienced a developmental reawakening of unmistakable scale and consequence. Across our regions, an infrastructural revolution has unfolded. They are by far systematic, deliberate, and people-centered. Modern highways and feeder roads now wave our nations into a coherent economic space, reducing travel time, lowering the cost of trade, stimulating tourism, and binding communities in shared national destiny. Expanded electricity generation and rural electrification have extended light where darkness once constrained productivity, energizing enterprises, strengthening agro-processing, enabling digital connectivity, and creating new ecosystem of opportunity for youth and women alike. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, these infrastructural gains are at their core investment in human capital. When mobility improves, access to education expands. Where energy becomes reliable, industry awakens. When connectivity deepens, entrepreneurship flourishes. Consequently, we are witnessing rising income generating activities, the growth of small and medium scale enterprises, renewed investor confidence, and the gradual transformation of local economies into energies of inclusivity and prosperity. Beyond infrastructure, the national development trajectory has equally prioritized the empowerment of people, the true custodian of progress. Strategic interventions in education, technical and vocational skills, agricultural modernization, youth empowerment, women's enterprise development, and social protection collectively signal a governance model that places dignity, productivity, and opportunity at the center of state policy. This is the pathway through which nation converts stability into prosperity and hope into measurable advancement. Ladies and gentlemen, in sustaining this national progress, the National Assembly has played a deliberate and practical role in ensuring that development commitments translate into real and accountable outcomes for citizens. Through the passage of enabling legislation, careful approval of national budgets, continuous scrutiny of public expenditure, the Assembly has held direct national resources towards priority infrastructure, energy expansion, education, health, and enterprise development. Parliamentary committees have completed this work through field oversight, stakeholders' engagement, and performance review of public programs. Actions that strengthen implementations, expose constraints, and promote responsible use of public funds. These contributions demonstrate that sustainable development is achieved not only through the construction of roads, power system, and public facilities, but also through disciplined governance, transparency in resource use, and continuous accountability to the people. Where investment is matched by oversight and policy direction, infrastructure delivers lasting economic value, public service becomes more dependable, and national growth expands a manner that is both inclusive and resilient. I must reiterate that national transformation is never accidental. It is the outcome of vision matched with courage, policy sustained by discipline, and leadership guided by relentless and deliberate commitment to the common good. As stakeholders in governance and as beneficiaries of peace, all of us carry a shared obligation, and this obligation includes protecting our democratic gains, nurturing unity, nurturing unity, promoting accountability, and ensuring that development remains inclusive in both intention and impactful. This third national dialogue must therefore rise beyond reflection into renewed national resolve. We must harness the full potential of our youthful population, accelerate productive investment, deepen institutional efficiency, and strengthen the moral foundation of public service. Above all, we must preserve the spirit of national cohesion that makes sustainable development possible. As we commemorate 61 years of sovereignty, let this gathering reaffirm a simple but enduring truth that the destiny of the Gambia will not be written by circumstances, but by the collective will, discipline, and vision of its people, guided by enlightened leadership, strengthened by unity, and inspired by faith in our future. Our nation stands on the threshold of inclusive and irreversible progress. I am highly optimistic that this dialogue will renew and energize our patriotism, sharpen our national purpose, and propel us towards a prosperity that will reach every community, every household, and every generation yet unborn. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker, for taking us through the due process of how things are done in a democratic dispensation. One of the challenges of our post-totalitarian system has been managing expectations from a vibrant population, youthful population. And I believe as a government and as a nation, we've gone far in doing that with visible resources, with measurable impact on all aspects of the life. Before proceeding to invite Honorable Babukar Boy, who will deliver the speech on behalf of His Excellency the President of the Republic, I would like to invite the young performance art group, Bright Future Generation Poetry Group, for a 6-minute performance. Bright Future, s'il vous plaît.
Hebate de mirero, Sitani da favorido, Hebate de mirero, Sitani da favorido, musibala, Niliato gilgi, Felen kalki debuba, Timogen joy, di joy. Felen galgi debuba, Gejangini dafa samara. Hale yang sibir, mangi yang sibiro, muliwingal galgi. Kunek nan mala, sudun manduba. Kunek nan mala, jolen mariubi, ba mawingal galgi. Kunek nan mala, sunu manduba.
Before anything exists, imagine itself. Before plans are written, roads are drawn. Police find their voices, and there is intention trembling in the dark. Mind you, we admire the strength of a juvenile and respect the gray hair of age. Listen to the roaming voices and choose good fate of the nation's choice. What a power! Promote entrepreneurship. Share the speed of science and technology. Invest in education that creates of skills, jobs and dignity for inclusive prosperity. With electricity reaching rural areas, youths can open welding workshops, uplift the citizens. Will fund a Bekati, Samakati, Namakati, because farmers, workers, traders, the informal hands of the nation hold the living economy together. If a youth can work, let that work build families, communities, and the nation. The future is not silent. It is speaking through us. In our creativity, in our resilience, in our determination to believe that there is more we can achieve. Digital minds, creative hands, partnership over isolation, integrity over corruption, inclusion over exclusion. You are love, you are life. We are life, we are hope. We are thought, we are strength. We are time, we are action. We are not dreaming of escape. We are committing to build. Harnessing of our human capital. Strengthening our infrastructure. Working in partnership for an inclusive living. To prosperity. For the Gambia. Together. Gambia, 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 Great Future Generation Foundation, the house of poetry.
One more round of applause. Bubbling up with energy. The future of the Gambia is secure. And then, yeah, we appreciate that beautiful rendition showing culture and modernity. Now, we'd like to invite Honorable Babu Karaboy to deliver the speech on behalf of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Adama Barrow.
Thank you very much. Honorable Deputy Speaker, His Lord, the Chief Justice, Honorable Ministers and members of the National Assembly here present, senior government and public officials, governors, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure that I join you at this third national dialogue. Since proclaiming the 16th of February as National Dialogue Day 3 years ago, this occasion has become a central feature of our Independence Day commemorations. It is a day set aside for reflection, engagement, and collective introspection on how, through constructive dialogue, we can strengthen and improve our nation. Engagement with citizens is not symbolic. It is strategic. It enables us to integrate the needs and aspirations of our people into the implementation of our development agenda, and that is the National Development Plan, commonly known as IREWA. Dialogue ensures that governance remains participatory, responsive, and accountable. Distinguished invitees and fellow citizens, In 2023, the Office of the President piloted a public forum under the theme Democracy, a Recipe for Peace and Development. That initiative demonstrated the value of structured national conversations, bringing together diverse perspectives from public officials and citizens alike. Having observed the quality and impact of those deliberations, I declared the 16th of February as a National Dialogue Day in 2024 to institutionalize dialogue as a permanent feature of our governance architecture. This day reminds us that citizenship carries responsibility. We must participate actively in shaping how our country is governed. We must express our views responsibly, uphold freedom and the rule of law, and respect divergent opinions. The Gambia we aspire to build, a peaceful, developed, and cohesive nation, requires unity of purpose. It requires that we rise above differences and work collectively toward our shared destination. That is why district and regional dialogues precede the national gathering. Wherever we are in this country, civic responsibility begins with listening, speaking respectfully, and seeking mutual understanding. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, each national dialogue theme has reflected our priorities as a nation. The inaugural dialogue focused on our collective responsibility of preserving the nation, safeguarding the state, and securing our resources. It called upon all stakeholders to protect our institutions and ensure accountability for peaceful coexistence. In 2025, under the theme Marching in Solidarity for Self-Reliance and National Development, we reaffirmed the importance of unity and shared effort in advancing our development agenda. Today, we convene under the theme Harnessing the Gambia's Human Capital and Infrastructure Resources to Leap into the Future, supported by 5 sub-themes. This annual gathering provides an opportunity for leaders to listen to citizens from every district and region, elevating local perspectives into a coherent national discourse. Fellow citizens, over the past 3 years, the National Dialogue process has directly engaged more than 15,000 citizens through district, regional, and national consultations. In 2026 alone, an additional 1,200 citizens have participated in interface sessions such as this one. Through conventional and social media platforms, many more Gambians have followed and contributed to these discussions. This initiative brings together the executive, legislature, judiciary, public servants, civil society, and citizens in one forum. It reinforces transparency, strengthens trust, and deepens democratic culture. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the National Dialogue is not a ceremonial event. It is a platform for meaningful exchange, networking, and collective problem solving. My government attaches great importance to its outcomes and remains committed to implementing actionable recommendations. We look forward to robust discussions arising from the regional consultations, the insights of our panelists, and the contributions of all participants gathered here today. The emphasis on empowering and inspiring our young people is particularly critical. Our youth constitute the backbone of our human capital. It is essential that we empower them, equip them, and empower them to take the reins of our nation's future. If we are to maximize our demographic dividend and leverage our infrastructure investments, we must deliberately invest in their skills, innovation, and entrepreneurship. As we expand our digital infrastructure, we also open avenues for deeper engagement with our citizens in the diaspora, enabling broader participation in national development. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2025 dialogue sessions produce important recommendations, particularly on governance reforms, civil liberties, and the rule of law. I am pleased to report that within the framework of our ongoing reforms, a significant number of these recommendations have been implemented, while others are being addressed through established governance processes and institutional mechanisms. The presence of government officials and technical experts at this dialogue is intentional, and I want to thank the permanent secretaries for responding to our call. It ensures that policy responses are timely and that priority issues are addressed with the urgency they deserve. We remain steadfast in our commitment to engage citizens as partners in delivering the NDP IRWA 2023 to 2027. I extend sincere appreciation to the National Preparatory Committees of previous dialogues and to the 2026 committee for their dedication and professionalism. As we officially open the third national dialogue, I wish you fruitful deliberations and meaningful outcomes. I also take this opportunity to wish you a happy Independence Day in advance. May Allah bless the Gambia, and thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Boy, for delivering the speech on behalf of His Excellency, the President of the Republic. Now we have a 3-minute interlude where we'll play a video reflecting on the national dialogue. Just heads up, we are broadcasting live. So if you are going to do power nap, do it in a way that you are not Zoom. We don't want somebody to say, oh, these government officials, they are only sleeping. So do it in a way that nobody will see. Or as they said, the way the cat does, one eye open, one eye. It's normal. So technicians, are you ready? Play for the video. Gambia celebrates 61 years of nationhood with a series of activities.
The activities include the third National Dialogue Day on Monday, 16 February 2026 at the Sadauda Kairaba Jawara International Conference Center. The theme for this year's Independence and Dialogue is harnessing the Gambia's human capital and infrastructural resources for an inclusive leap to prosperity.
In pursuit of good governance, peace, and social cohesion. Equitable development nationwide. The theme illustrates the political will the government has for a people-focused transformation with modern infrastructure for our common prosperity.
The National Dialogue amplifies citizens' voices and ensures their contribution to the agenda for good governance and national development. Join the National Parade at the Makati Square on 8 February 2026 for a remarkable celebration of the Gambia's 61st independence anniversary.
Yes, 61 years of peace and stability remind us of the strength and resilience of our forefathers
who dedicated their lives to our nation's liberation.
We are the generation that builds on their legacy, and we set the standard for the next generation. We are peacefully harnessing the Gambia's human capital and infrastructural resources for an inclusive leap to prosperity.
Get set and be part of our nation's journey of historic transformations.
Thank you very much. Now, may we join the high table for photograph, photo session, family session. We want the next generation to remember this session. That's why we like to capture it also. And so you may follow. And the session continues, interesting sessions. So stay and be part of it. Yeah.
Maybe if we can have the high table and then we have the discussants and the honorable members so that we can have it in groups. That we will have better photos. We're going to have it outside so that we all have a good background there. Thank you. Photographer sessions, can you help? Please come. You can leave your bags and things, and they're coming back immediately. Yeah, thank you.